Good evening, everybody. It's 7 o'clock on the 30th of August 2023, and this is a meeting of the Epping Forest District Council Area Planning Subcommittee East. My name is Councillor Ian Hadley. On my left, I normally have Councillor Heather Brady, who's not available this evening, so I'd like to suggest that I have Councillor Paul Kesker to take her place if you agree. Thank you. Paul, you'd like to join me. Further on my left, I have Ian Ansell from Planning Department. On my right, Laura Kerman from Democratic Services, and Natalie, who's our audio-visual controller this evening. Okay, before we start, I have to read this message for those members of the public in the chamber. I would like to remind everyone present that this hybrid meeting will be broadcast live to the internet or filmed and will be capable of repeated viewing or other such use by third parties. Therefore, by participating in this meeting, you are consenting to being filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings for webcasting and or training purposes. If any public speakers on MS Teams do not wish to have their image captured, they should ensure that their video setting throughout the meeting is turned off and set to audio only. Please also be aware that if technical difficulties interrupt the meeting that cannot be overcome, I may need to adjourn the meeting. So members are reminded to activate their microphones before speaking and turn them off afterwards. Okay. Item 2 on the agenda is advice to the public. I take that's been given.
Has been given.
Thank you. Item 3, apologies for absence.
We've received apologies from absence, as you've already mentioned, from Councillor Brady and also from Councillor McCann.
Thank you. Item 4, declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest? It looks like we do not. Thank you. Item 5, the minutes of the last meeting. Any comments on the minutes of the last meeting? No comments? Nope. No. Any other business? No other business. 7, site visits. Councillor Holly-Whitbridge.
Thank you, Chairman, and I realise, and apologies for my slight lateness there, and I realise I might be unpopular for saying this because I realise we've got speakers, but I was considering putting a motion forward for a site visit on the Fade and Garnon application after a conversation with the ward councillor who unfortunately can't be here today. There are a number of highways concerns, and particularly concerns around the sustainability of the site and the hedging around the site. For newer members who might not be fully aware of the geography, I thought it might be helpful just to get a site visit just to show the impact this might have on the local area. So I'd be happy to propose the site visit if I have a seconder. And apologies if it goes through to those who've come this evening.
Seconder, Councillor Burrows. Okay, can we have a vote on that for a site visit?
(11-4).
Okay. So there will be a site visit for that, and the list available. Against. 11 and 15. Against? 1. Abstaining? 3. Got to be recorded. Okay. Right, I'll start again then. So that site visit will be arranged for this at the next convenient meeting. That's EPF 2578/22. Okay, in which case...
Do you want to see if the public want to disappear?
Sorry?
If the public are here for that item, they may wish to.
Yes. Anybody here for that can clearly would like to disappear now, or stay even. Thank you. Right, so we're on item 8, which is the EPF 2490/22, the Orchard, Fingrith Hall Lane, High Ongar, CM4 0JP, on pages 11 to 28. This is subject to a site visit 2 Saturdays ago. Thank you for those people who came along to it. Okay, Ian Ansell. Thank you. I'll take it through, Ian.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, members. I gave a full introduction to this item last time, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing again. But I am going to show some of the slides just as a reminder, and there are a couple of issues that came up at the site visit that I may be able to provide a bit more clarity on. So the site is on Fingerith Hall Lane. The land adjoining has recently been redeveloped for a residential scheme, and this application proposes demolition of all the existing buildings and a replacement with 6 houses. The existing buildings are sprawling and include 2-storey elements, single-storey elements, dormers, and a bit of everything. The proposed layout shows these 6 dwellings. This is a new access. It's moved further to the north. Members that went on the site visit saw that the applicant had kindly marked a position for us to show us. Members may also have received an updated copy of the highways comments, which confirm that highways are satisfied with the route. 2 house types there, 2-storey dwellings, reflecting the local vernacular. There was discussion on site about an electricity column in the towards the northern end of the site. Now this picture is the other way up. The green cross with a red outline is just next to where this electricity pole is, and the green cross at the bottom is where it connects back into the next column. So it only passes across the corner of the site and not over any substantial area, just in the northwest corner of plot 1. A couple of other issues. There was concern about an existing access at the rear, but as this plan shows, that access is completely removed. The applicant has confirmed that the right of access applies only to the existing dwelling, so that access is definitely closed off, and there is a condition to approve the details of the boundary treatment that can cover that. The other issues about permitted development, and there is a condition on the application that removes permitted development rights. So it's previously developed land in the Greenbelt, comparative in terms of footprints and floor areas, but a reduction in hard surface, significant reduction in hard surface, and the application is recommended for approval, subject to conditions and a Section 106 agreement to deal with FSAC contribution.
Thank you, Ian. Speakers. We have 2 speakers on this. Oh, do we? I do believe we have no speakers on this. So we can go straight to members' comments. Maybe the ward councillor would like to say something. Councillor Balcom.
Thank you, Chair. Well, first of all, I thought the site visit was very useful. It gave us all an understanding of the site. And I'm glad that the 2 points I was going to raise tonight, which was the development rights, and they are totally removed for any further development, and the entrance, the rear entrance, will that also be shut off for construction?
There's a condition about construction management plan, and we will make sure it's covered in that.
Councillor Bedford.
Thank you. I won't take up too much of members' time this evening. It was a very useful site. We did raise a question, I don't know if Mr Anderson remembers, we were asking about the ditch. We discovered a ditch that runs along the side. And also, when members were there, we found that when we were walking around the back, there's quite a nice red brick wall that was been built specifically. I just wondering if one of the boundary conditions, if that wall could be extended to cover the area where the rear access used to be, so it becomes contiguous across the back. Thank you.
Well, obviously retention of the wall is subject to it being structurally sound, but if that's what members want, I think we can put, I would suggest you put an informative on that that's the direction you want us to go in when we deal with the conditions.
Okay. Councillor McIver.
Thank you, Chairman, and echo the comments of my colleagues. I think I made this point at the previous meeting. I think this site definitely needs to be developed, and members would have seen the good reasons why on the site visit. I do share concerns about the highways aspects to it, particularly not people entering the new development, people exiting. It's a dodgy road, as many of you would have seen on the site visit. However, I appreciate and accept the highways report on that, and perhaps that's something that once the site is developed, if we are mindful to grant permission today, perhaps there's some work to be done later on to make improvements to the highway. So I'm very mindful to support the application. I also think with regards to conditionality, I just think we need to just do the strongest possible condition to ensure that there is absolutely no construction access from the rear, because obviously there is a lot of people living there now that weren't there before. So I'm very happy to support the application.
Ian wants to come back.
Yeah, perhaps I suggest we amend the construction management plan to make condition to make that clear.
Councillor Phillip.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll try not to repeat anything that's been said. I note what Councillor McIver said about the access, but when we were there, we actually saw how significantly improved the moving of that access would be, particularly in terms of traffic heading up towards the 414, which I noticed particularly as I was leaving the site. Moving it that little bit further up is going to make a significant difference. I'm a strong believer in protecting the green belt, but having been to the site visit, there is an awful lot of hard standing, and this will actually improve the openness of the green belt. I think it's a significant improvement, and I'm happy to support it.
Thank you, Councillor. Certainly when I went on the site visit, I nearly had an accident coming up the existing site from a speeding Land Rover approaching from the left. So just as well they are moving it. Anybody else?
No, I haven't seen anyone else.
Anybody else like to say anything? No? Oh, Councillor Bell.
Yeah, just one small condition. I take it that all construction workers and everything will be on site and not parking in the road.
Parking for construction workers is part of the CMS.
Okay, if that's all then, I think we come to a vote, and the vote is to support the officer's recommendation to approve this application with conditions. Those in favour?
Unanimous, Chair.
Okay. No point in asking those against. Right, okay. That brings us to the final item. Exclusion of public and press. Nothing to do there. So I declare this meeting closed at 7:12.